Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my quick talk about the wonderfully silly world of collective nouns. I'm going to give you a quick but painless grammar lesson. No pain, I promise. The reason this is painless is because collective nouns are traditional agreements rather than rules. In the same way that the Pirates Code is enforced in the Caribbean, it's really more a set of guidelines. So, what's a noun? A noun is a name. And the easy way to remember that is noun and name both start with the letter N. And a collective noun is a description for a group of people, animals, or things. So where did collective nouns come from? Well, they began in France in the mid-1200s. This is a period of European history known as the Middle Ages, a time when many people still had to hunt for food to survive. However, the nobility, or the upper classes and royalty, didn't have to hunt for food anymore. They hunted for sport. This is where collective nouns developed, as a way to catalogue the animals they hunted. The cataloguing grew to include collective nouns based on whether the animal was on the ground or in the air. So geese, we know them as a gaggle of geese. That's when they're on the ground. And a skein of geese, or a flock of geese, when they're in the air. We get a colony of birds when they're roosting in large numbers, but a rush when they're migrating. It kind of makes sense. Spawning or relaxing fish are a school of fish, but when they're swimming upstream, they make a run. So it's a run of fish. The English kept inventing collective nouns as the language developed, and the more people used them, the more they became part of daily language. By the 1300s, collective nouns became something of a spoken code to quickly identify members of the nobility or quickly exclude people who weren't. The collective nouns became hugely exaggerated by the 1400s. So we've got books coming out now, printed books, being shared amongst people who can afford printed books and who can read them. So we've got a sentence of judges, a fighting of beggars, a gaggle of women, which compares us to geese. Isn't that nice? And we also have a disworship of Scots. Now, disworship means dishonour. So what they're really saying is Scots are dishonourable. Thanks for that. The advent of printed dictionaries started to formalise spelling rules, but despite the best efforts of some writers, English collective nouns were never ratified and are therefore not official grammar. Even though loads of people use them and know about them and think they're official, they're not actually very official. It's just that we come to accept them and we think, well, that's okay, you know, flock of geese, flock of seagulls, that's all right, can apply to that, group of this, school of fish, all that sort of stuff. What collective nouns did manage, though, was to record the sounds or behaviours of some animals or groups of animals. So we have a swarm of bees. It kind of gives us that onomatopoeic swarm. We have a pride of lions, an army of ants, and a skulk of foxes. Now, ferrets, my favourite animal, were initially called a busyness of ferrets because they're so busy. Over the centuries, this has been corrupted into the word business, so they're called a business of ferrets. We can still have a lot of fun with them and make up modern collective nouns. For example, I seem to think of pastries as a sweetness of pastries, perhaps. Hot chips could be a carb of chips. So have fun inventing some collective nouns too, because you won't be wrong. Okay, until next time, bye.